Thank you very much for joining us. Last year, criticism of the president's speech, some were suggesting it was weak, lacking focus and vigor. Is that a sentiment that you shared about last year's address?
I do think that last year's address was not as focused, giving direction, especially in view of the job creation issue. Though that was the theme, the speech itself touched on a number of things, not necessarily related to that central theme of job creation.
Yeah. Now, just listening to what people have been saying, they're talking about corruption, job creation, concern about unemployment, concerns about hospitals not having adequate equipment and so on. What do you expect the president to focus on this year?
I do think that the issue of job creation cannot be avoided, but again, given the education crisis, the intervention of government in many other provinces, and the issue of corruption as reflected in the Auditor General, he cannot avoid that. But the ANC 100-year centenary becomes another context.
Yeah.
And South Africa's performance internationally in terms of diplomacy in Africa and beyond is most likely going to feature. The recession and the problems might be used as one of the reasons why the job creation may not be realized at the same level.
Yeah. Just the State of the Nation. The State of the Nation addressed by the president. What is its purpose, essentially?
Its main purpose is to say this is what the government program is going to be for a given year, and lay ground for your budget speech, lay ground for policy speeches of other ministers, because it gives you a sense of priorities for that given year, and also a report card for the previous year.
Yeah. Has it achieved that? I mean, when you think back to the last 3, the last 4, the last 5 that we've had, do they do that? Or is it just another address? It's just another occasion for pomp and ceremony and people to dress up, issue a couple of invitations, let's gather, have a bit of a conversation, after that go and have a gala dinner, and then it's all done?
Well, there are nice initiatives that you see, especially immediately after elections, to say these are the 5 priorities that government had come up with.
Yes.
But the problem with South Africa has never been in good policy proposals or frameworks. It's the implementation that begin to show results. That's where I think the main challenge is. And coordination as well.
And the general public, how do people view these speeches?
I do think that there are different segments of the public. Some in business will be listening to say what are the key projects so that they line up for the tenders. Some out there in public will always be yearning and hoping that poverty alleviation, job creation, as well as ending rampant corruption might be key. They have a different take in the State of the Nation, and each segment will be concentrating on those issues, job creation for some.
The issue of transformation, is it still as prominent in our society, or has its significance been in substantial decline over the last while?
Not at all. In fact, people are beginning to ask, 17 years into our democracy, has this democracy delivered? Whilst a lot of work has been done, unfortunately your historical, systemic and structural problems are still there. Hence the talk of land redistribution, mine ownership. Those are some of the issues speaking to transformation issues that have not been resolved.
Just looking at the president, has he hit his stride as president and in taking charge of occasions such as this?
I do think that over the years he was beginning to be more comfortable and more confident than what he was at the beginning. Because there was a bit of nervousness and there was a bit of questions, will he be able to fit into this role? In terms of personal comfort, I think it's there. The only challenge is coming with that vision that appeals across South Africa, and that vision which begin to say, given the challenges that we have, this is where we are going. I think there are still too many policy initiatives which are good, but do they speak to each other? Are they practical and implementable? That is the question that I think many people are beginning to ask.
For you, what would be ideal? What should he address today? What should he say? Where should the focus be?
Job creation, poverty alleviation, and also the issue of austerity. Because if the elite continue to live a life as if you are not in the midst of a recession elsewhere and a depression, possibly some features within the country, then that would be a problem. And also our foreign policy is being doubted in some instances because of many issues, some not our own making as a country, but the complexity of today's international relations, landscape. So those are some of the issues: education, health, those all feature. And unfortunately, there are many areas of grave concern at the moment.
Job creation, what should he say? What should he address? I mean, job creation, yes, but what should he say about job creation?
If you were to come up with a program where he says the infrastructure development that we have, public works and other departments, this is how we are going to shift from the tenders that we focus on into involving the communities, capacitating them, giving them the skill to maintain that particular infrastructure, and also speak into the youth programs, internships on a massive scale with numbers, then you'd begin to say there is a dent and there is a shift in a paradox. Because I think the over-reliance on consultants and tenders has not yielded those results. A speech of a nature of a New Deal, when Roosevelt was speaking to Americans about the Great Depression and the public works programs, is the kind of a speech that we're looking for.
All right. Somadoda Fikeni joining us this morning, talking about his expectations of President Jacob Gedle Ihlekisa Zuma's State of the Nation address, scheduled for later on today.